Welcome back to IC Tune. Due to coronavirus, we cannot meet together, but hopefully through this online lesson, you'll be able to learn and you'll be able to praise God through the techniques that you learn. So I hope you remember the strokes that we have done last time when we met, which was single and double stroke. The single stroke, you just play once per your hand, and double stroke, you play twice for each hand. The stroke that we are going to learn today is called paradiddle, which is that you are combining the single and double strokes for both hands. So how you play, let me show you first. It's single, single, double, and single, single, double. If I call out the hands that I'm playing, right, left, twice of right, and then left, right, left, left. So when you play fast, it sounds like this. It's important for you to have that flow of strength, which means that when you play once, you're not playing each single time with its own strength, but rather you are going with the flow of your hand once you start. I talked about the same concept when we were learning single stroke, but as you're doing the paradiddle, you are going to get your flow from the first stroke of each beat, which means when you play right, left, right, the first right is what gives you strength. Same as with your left hand as well. So if you go twice, if you go faster, actually it's going to be almost playing once for each hand, but that each time it has three other smaller strokes with it. So again, if you play fast, it's going to be sound like this. Now we're gonna talk about the basics of the rhythm. So there are many kinds of notes actually. There are whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, 16th note, and there are many other notes that we can talk about, but that's the five basic kinds of notes that we're going to talk about. So first one, a whole note, uh, it's just a circle without filling anything inside. It's just an empty circle, and it means that when you see this note, you have to make sure that you are playing that note for 4 beats. Okay, you have to last that note for 4 beats. And when you see the half note, which is a circle that's not filled, but also there are vertical line with it. It means that you have to last it long for 2 beats. Same wise, there are quarter note, which now it has a filled circle with a vertical line. So it means that you have to make sure that this note lasts long for 1 beat. It's just a beat. That's called a quarter note. Now, eighth note, it has a circle that is filled with black, also with vertical line, but as again, it has a tail, just one tail at the on the right side. It means that you have to make sure that you play this note with half beat and 16th note. There is 16th note, which is a circle filled again with vertical line, but now it has two tails. It means that you are playing this for a quarter beat. Okay, so you have to distinguish half beat and half note again, and quarter beat and quarter note. So when you say quarter note is the kind of note, and when you are saying quarter beat, then you have to play just 1/4 of each beat. Okay, so the same wise for the half note and the half beat again. Okay, so when you see the kinds of note, you can see that if it has a bigger number, it means it has less um, time of beat. Okay, when the number becomes twice more from the before, then beat becomes half of the notes that you saw before. Now we're gonna look at the rest too. So when you play notes, it's gonna be called notes, And when you not play, it's going to be called the rest. Okay, there are many kinds of rest as well, but it's almost the same as the notes that we've seen. So there are kinds of notes such as whole rest, half rest, quarter rest, eighth rest, and 16th rest. So it's and more, many more. So it's exactly the same as the kinds of notes that we just saw before. Okay, when you see a whole rest, it looks like a hat that's upside down. Okay, it looks like a hat that looks upside down. It means that you have to rest for 4 beats. For the half rest, it looks like a usual hat. Now, this time it's not upside down, but it's just right way of hat, and it means that you have to rest for 2 beats. Quarter rest, it looks like this, that it's not easy to draw, but when you look at the symbol, it means that you have to rest for 1 beat. It's the same wise, it works the same way for 8th rest and 16th rest as well. So when you see those rest sign, then you have to make sure that you rest for those designated time for each symbol. Now we're gonna talk about the meters. Okay, meters, we mean numbers like 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, 6/8, and such. Okay, when you look at this, you might ask yourself a question: what does this means? Okay, what does this meter or this numbers mean? Okay, so when you look at these numbers, you have to distinguish which number is on the top, which number is in the bottom. The number in the bottom, it means that is a basic value of the beat of this score. Okay, so when you see 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, that 4 is the standard number of the value. The quarter note is a basic value of the song. And the numbers in 6/8, how about that? So 8 becomes the basic value of the score. The number on the top, let's say in 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, there are 4, 3, 2, and 6. There are various numbers on the top. That means that basic value that you just saw, let's say for example, if it's 4/4, the basic value, which is quarter beat, it in one measure, the quarter beat, 4 quarter beats can go into the same measure. Then it's 4/4. 3 beats of quarter beat can go into the same measure. Then it's going to be 3/4. Let's say there can be 6/8 beats in one measure, then it's going to be 6/8. So when you look at these meters, it tells you basically how long is a measure is. If it's 6/8, again, the measure is long as 6 notes of 8 beat can go into one measure. If it's 2/4, then 2 quarter beats can go into one measure. If it's 3/4, 3 quarter beats can go into one measure. Okay, so when you look at the meter and it says 4/4, then you're gonna realize, oh, this score is saying that one measure is as long as 4 quarter beats. When you look at 3/4, then you're gonna say, oh, this score has a measure of 3 quarter notes can go into one measure. You can look at that system and you'll be able to realize what this is telling you. Okay, all this is information that you have to know before you actually play. Now we're gonna talk about how you are going to actually know how long the measure is. Okay, so let's say you see a 4/4 score in front of you. Okay, and how many eighth note can go into one measure? Again, you see a meter of 4/4, and how many eighth notes can you put in to one measure? Okay, so 4/4 means that there could be 4 quarter notes in one measure as max, right? So in one measure, it has beat of 1, 2, 3, 4. And eighth note, how many beats is the eighth note? So eighth note has a half beat for each note. Again, eighth note is a half beat. Okay, so when you are playing 2 eighth note, that equals to 1 quarter beat. So when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, then you have to put 2 quarter notes for each beat. So it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's 8th note. Okay, so there would be 8 notes in one measure. We're gonna look at another example. Okay, so let's say there are 2/4, okay, meter of 2/4, and how many 16 beats can you 16 notes can you put into that one measure? Okay, so 16th 2/4, first of all, meter 2/4 means that there are 2 quarter notes in each measure, right? And then 16th measure, 16th note would be 4 subdivisions in each beat. So it's going to be 1, 2. That's one measure, right? Because 16th note is 1/4 of quarter note, you are going to put 4 into 1 quarter beat. So let's say you have 4 16th notes, that's equals to 1 quarter note. Okay, so 16 beats 4 into 1 quarter beat, and you have 2 quarter beats to fill in the meter of 2/4. So it's going to be 4 times 2, which is number of 16 notes, times number of beats in one measure, that becomes 8. So again, in meter 2/4, you have 16th note, 8 of 16th notes. Okay, that's the answer for this example. Now we are going to the main point of today's lesson. Okay, it's called the both hands rhythm practice. Okay, when you look at the score, you have to first realize what the meter is. So for this one, it has 4/4 meter, right? And this score contains both the right hand part and left hand part. So when you practice this, practice the right hand part first. Okay, practice the right hand part and be careful that you are reading the right rhythm. If you're not reading the right rhythm, it doesn't mean that you can play this. Okay, so you have to read the right rhythm, and then you are going to play with your left hand also. Okay, so right hand, if I play this for you, it's going to be like this. I'm going to count first. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the right hand, okay? Left hand part. I'm going to play this for you now, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. When you are familiar with both parts, now we're going to combine both hands now. I'm going to count and then play, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not easy and it's pretty actually tricky, but this is very important for you to able to separate your hands from each other. Okay, to play drum, you should be able to separate your both of your hands and both of your feet so you can play different rhythms and different things. And this is the first step to practice that. So make sure that I play the first rhythm, but you should be able to play the rest of the rhythm and the score. And that's the homework for this week. This is it for today's ICTune class. Even though we cannot meet together in the same place, hopefully you will be able to learn drums through this and we can praise God all together. So hope you're safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.